Hello students, I'm Gurleen Kaur, an assistant professor in TMIMT, and I'm going to teach you the subject environmental studies. In this, we have completed our two major topics, that is pollutants and pollution, and we have also done three types of pollution. Further, we will study some more pollution. The three types of pollution we have already studied are air pollution, water pollution, and soil pollution. Now, next, we will study. Before starting this, let's take a quick revision of our previous class. In that, we have studied the three major type of pollution. That is air pollution, water pollution, and soil pollution. So, what do you understand by air pollution? Any contamination in the air with harmful substances such as gases, particles, and chemicals will be termed as an air pollution. When all the contaminations will be done in the air through the particles such as gases or chemicals, then it will be termed as a air pollution. The major causes of air pollution can be industrial process, transportation, and household activities. And it can be controllable by doing some preventive measures that we have already discussed. Now, next is our water pollution. When there is a contamination of bodies of water such as lakes, river, and oceans with harmful substances. When harmful substances is being released into the water bodies, into the different forms of water like river, lakes and oceans, and it will be termed as a water pollution. It can be caused by industrial waste, sewage, and agriculture runoff. Next is soil pollution. Now, what is soil pollution? When contamination is being done into the soil with harmful substances such as heavy metals, pesticides, and industrial waste, then it will be termed as a soil pollution. When the soil is being polluted with the harmful chemicals, harmful metals, pesticides, and industrial waste, then it will be termed as soil pollution, which results in infertility of land, or we can say in-productivity of the soil. So it can have a negative effect on plant growth, animal health, and human health, and it can also lead to the contamination of groundwater. I hope these three pollutions are clear to everyone. Now in today's class we will start our fresh topic, that is noise pollution. So what we understand by noise pollution: loud sound produced by people or machine that may disturb the environment and make it more difficult for a species to live normally, they are referred to as noise pollution. When there is a sound which cannot be tolerable, when there is a high pitched sound which disturbs the environment, living species, living biodiversity, then it will be termed as noise pollution. Noise pollution can be measured in terms of decibels. In short form, we can say it as dB. So decibels are used to quantify sound intensity. Human tolerance varies depending on physiological state, but 40 to 60 dB is thought to be typical acceptable limit, which means that noise pollution can be measurable in a quantifying terms with the help of a unit that is known as decibels. In short form, we call it as dB. So this unit can be this unit if this unit can be in between 40 to 60 dB, it is a tolerable limit, which it is the acceptable limit. We can listen between these limit, but when the limit crosses by 60 dB, then the sound which arises may cause a noise pollution. So, described as an unpleasant and unwelcome sound, noise has permitted industrial centers and urban life in this century. Noise, talking about noise, we can say noise can be defined unpleasant as an unpleasant and unwanted sound that is and become a part of urban life and industrial center in the century. Now, these are the sources of noise pollution. Sources of noise pollutions are divided into two parts: man-made sources and natural sources. Man-made sources: human activities contribute the most to the rising level of noise pollution. Example: industries, transportation, entertainment, defense equipment, festival, domestic appliances, etc. And natural sources like volcano eruption, thunderstorm, etc. It is very difficult to control these natural sources of pollution. Look, sources of pollutions are divided into two parts: man-made sources and natural sources. Man-made sources, which is the humans are responsible for creating these type of pollution, like when there is a huge sound of industries, transportation, when someone is honking the horn at a large space scale, entertainment by increasing the volumes of the sources of entertainment, defense equipment, festivals by cracking the crackers, or we can say with the help of domestic appliances, one can easily create the noise pollution. When their sound rises by above 60 decibels, then it may lead to noise pollution. But the man-made sources can be controllable. It's in the hands of the human. They, if they want, they can control it by controlling the activities. But the natural sources, they are not controllable, as they are causes naturally, like volcano eruptions. When there is a volcanic eruptions, the sound coming out of the land is so high that it creates the noise pollution, like thunder, storm, etc. So it is very difficult to control these natural sources of pollution. So sources of noise pollution are man-made sources and natural sources. Man-made sources are those sources which are controllable in nature and human is responsible, and human activities are contributing the most in rising the level of noise pollution. For example, in we can say, like, with the help of industries, transportation, entertainment, defense equipment, festival, domestic appliances. But natural sources like volcanic eruption, thunder, storm, etc., which are not in the hand of human, so it is very difficult to control these natural sources of pollution. Effects of noise pollution. Effects of noise pollutions consist of two parts: auditory effect and non-auditory effect. Auditory effect means even for a short amount of a time, exposure to loud noises can cause temporary deafness. An extremely loud sound in a certain range might make it harder for the ear to respond to those frequencies later on, which causes people to experiencing a buzzing or whistling sound. Constantly, constantly being around loud noises might cause irreparable loss or permanent deafness. So, auditory effect may even expose to high volume of sound for a prolonged amount of time, such as those produced by industrial facilities, bottling machine, supersonic airplanes. The resulting irreversible damage to hearing may occur. So auditory effect, when the when human lost the capacity to hear, that is auditory effect, we can say. Now, how it can be controlled? And it auditory effect comprises the like it can be caused due to bottling machine, supersonic airplanes produced by sounds produced by industries, etc. So controllable measure, how it can be controlled? Okay, before this, let's go through first non-auditory effect. And what are non-auditory effect? Non-auditory effect can be anxiety, high blood pressure, fatigue, reduced work efficiency, sleep disturbance. Okay, so now what's the difference between auditory effect and non-auditory effect? When the effect is on our hearing capacity, when we are not able to hear, when our eardrum is being damaged, then it is known as auditory effect. Under this, we lost the hearing capacity partially or completely, and under this, we are not able to hear to the another person's sound partially or permanently. But non-auditory effect, under this, there is no such effect in the eardrum, but the effect can be seen on our body when there is a chances of fatigue, we can say, and headache, and anxiety, high blood pressure, sleeping disturbance, schedule, etc. So non-auditory effects are not related to ear, but they are related to body. So their effects can be seen in another body parts of our body, but auditory effect are seen in terms of our hearing capacity. So these are the control measures. So these are some of the control measures of noise pollution which one should follow to control the noise pollution. First one is restricted use of amplifiers and speakers. One should restrict the use of amplifier and speaker. The sound created by amplifier and speaker should not be more than 60 decibels. That it's not one should not when it exceeds the limits above 60 decibels, then it's not acceptable, and the hearing capacity of any living organism can be lost. So the sound coming out from the amplifier and speaker should be controllable. They should not make a huge sound which may disturb the society or the living organisms present. Even small creatures, they are also get disturbed through the noise pollutions, and this disturbance may lead to their death also. So one should control the activities of himself and make sure that uh, because of those such activities, it may not lead to noise pollution. So the restriction, there should be restrictions on using of amplifiers and speakers. Second is earplugs ought to be supplied to industrial personnel. So earplugs, those personals, those humans are related to industries, they are need to use the earplugs. Third, delocalization of loud enterprises distant from residual area. The areas which are making huge sound, loud enterprises. So residential areas should be distant from that area. It should not happen like if any industry, any enterprises who are in regularly working with making the sounds, then residential area should be far away from that place. One should not reside nearby the place where there is lots of loud enterprises are situated. Next, all around hospitals, libraries, schools, and colleges should be planted with trees and other plants. So the industries, libraries, schools, and colleges should be planted with numerous number of trees and other plants. Next, one way to shield oneself from noise is to wear cotton earplugs. So one should wear cotton earplugs, and as it helps in avoiding the unwanted or high volume noise. Next, awareness to public. Public should be more aware that the noise they are making, the high pitch they are using, should be avoided, that they should know the consequences of the noise pollution. By raising the voice, they might cause a noise pollution, and one can lose the hearing capacity also. So public should be aware regarding this. Next is taking strict action for those violating the laws. for controlling the pollution, various laws, policies, rules, regulations is being formulated by the government. But the thing is, some of the persons are following those rules, while most of them are violating the laws. So there should be strict action, as well as we can say for controlling this, fine may also charge. But if they do not follow the laws, then there should be a strict action should be taken. So these are the control measures of noise pollution. Now this is a summary slide. This is a summary slide of noise pollution. This consists of transportation, industrial activities, entertainment, and residential area. These are the causes of noise pollution. Like how does transportation, industrial activities, entertainment, and residential areas are contributing in making noise pollution? And as we already know that the consequences of noise pollution are very harmful, that one can even lose the hearing capacity permanently, while others can lost it on a temporary basis, but it is very harmful as it causes many harmful diseases also, like fatigue, like laziness, tiredness, anxiety, etc. So one needs to control the noise pollution, but the causes of noise, for that purpose the causes of noise pollution should be controlled. Like causes can be its transportation, industrial activities, entertainment, and residential area. Now, transportation. Transportation, how transportation is responsible for the noise pollution? When the noises are coming out from the car, truck, trains, and airplanes is a major cause of noise pollution. When the sound coming out by honking the horn from the cars or from the trucks or trains, and by taking off the planes, a sound comes out. It when there is a high pitched sound coming out from these transport, then it's a major source of the noise pollution. So as we already know that the normal range is from 40 to 60 decibels. If the sound is coming more than 60 decibels, then it is very harmful for the environment as well as for the humans. So transportation is the major cause for noise pollution. Next is industrial activities. Industrial activities. Industrial activities consist of factories, construction site, and other industrial activities can generate high level of noise. Factories, some of the factories are in productions of metal productions and other large scale industries who provides lots of noise while producing their materials, and those noises are not bearable. So residential areas should be apart from those industries, but still the factory, the persons, the personnel who are working in the industries are in high danger, and for that purpose the controllable measure they can use is that they can use earplugs. But industrial activities can also be a major cause for the noise pollution. Factories, construction sites, and the industrial activities can generate a high level of noise. That high level of noise that is more than 60 decibels. Next is entertainment. Loud music, concert, and other entertainment events can also contribute to noise pollution. Loud music, when the music coming out from the speakers or amplifiers, we can say that it is loud in nature, it has the capacity of more than 60 decibels, that which cannot be acceptable, then the sound coming out of it will be not bearable and which cause a huge loss to the human. Same way concerts, when any city is hosting any kind of concert, then in that there is a sound, lots of speakers were there, and the sounds coming out of that speakers are very dangerous, very harmful for the society, for the humans, and for the small creatures as well. And other entertainment events can also contribute to noise pollution. So entertainment is also the biggest cause of the noise pollution. Next is residential area. Noise from neighbors, household appliances, and other sources can impact the quality of life in residential area. So residential area is that area where a person lives, and in residential area it can also become a cause for the noise pollution when the noise from neighbors and on household appliances, just like for example mixer, grinder, and lots of noise, they also creates lots of noise. When the noise is more than 60 decibels, then it can also create a negative impact to the quality of life who are living in the residential area. Now our next topic is plastic pollution. Plastic pollution. Plastic pollution. Now, this is our next pollution, that is plastic pollution. What is plastic pollution? Plastic pollution is caused by the accumulation of plastic waste in the environment. It can be categorized in primary plastics such as cigarette butts and bottle caps, or secondary plastic resulting from the degradation of the primary ones. It can also be defined by its size, or microplastics, small plastics whose size is less than 5 mm of plastic dispersed in the environment, to macroplastic. So plastic, how does plastic pollution cause? It causes when there is an accumulation of plastic waste in the environment. As we already know that plastic is a non-biodegradable waste, which means it takes thousands of years, even more than that, to decompose the one layer of plastic. So how dangerous it could be. So before using this plastic, we should think twice and make sure that we make it as in a recycle way, recycle it before throwing it. Otherwise, it may cause a disastrous impact to the land. So plastic, we can say plastic pollution, accumulation in the environment of synthetic plastic products to the point that they create problems even for the wildlife and their habitat, we can say, or for human as well. So plastic pollution can take a of different forms, including the accumulation of waste. Second, the accumulation of marine litter, fragments or micro particles of plastic, and non-biodegradable fishing nets, which continue to trap wildlife and waste. Waste causing the death of animals by ingestion of plastic object. The arrival of microplastics and microbeads of plastics from cosmetic and body care products. Plastic pollution is a major threat to our planet as well as ocean. Why it is said so? Because plastic take number of years to decompose. It cannot be decomposed easily. So once a plastic is being released and it is not recycled, then it may cause a disastrous impact to the planet as well as to the oceans. So the problem of plastic, we can say that as we already know that plastic is a polymeric material, and that material whose molecules are very large, often resembling long chain made up of seemingly endless series of interconnected links, which are not easily disposed of. Natural polymers such as rubber and silk exist in abundance, but nature's plastic have not been implicated in environmental pollution because they do not persist in the environment. Today, however, The average consumer comes into daily contact with all kind of plastic material that have developed specifically to defeat natural decay process. Materials derived mainly from petroleum that can be molded, cast, spun, or applied as a coating. Since synthetic plastic are largely non-biodegradable, they tend to persist in natural environment, we can say. Moreover, we can say that many lightweights, single-use plastic products and packaging material, which account for approximately 50% of all plastic produce, are not deposited in containers for subsequent removal to landfills, recycling centers, or incinerations. So, uh, how much dangerous a plastic could be? Instead, they are improperly disposed of at near the location where they and their usefulness to the consumer. Dropped on the ground, thrown out of the car window, heaped out on a already full trash bin, or inadvertently carried, have become common in many parts of the world. There is some association also known as Trade Association, Plastic Europe, Worldwide Plastic Producing grew from some 1.5 million metric tons per year to estimate 275 million metric tons in the next year. So this could be a estimate that how a plastic production grew up, that from 1.5 million to 275 million metric tons in the current year. Since we already know that the plastic waste is non-biodegradable, once it is released from the human hand, it may cause a disaster impact to the land as well as to the ocean. So, since the ocean is downstream from nearly even terrestrial location, it is the receiving body for much of the plastic waste generated on land. Several million tons of debris, we can say, may also cause a numerous impact for the human as well as for, we can say, for aquatic bodies also. So when there is an accumulation of waste, accumulation of plastic, then it may lead to a disastrous impact on the planet as well as on the ocean. Causes plastic pollution. Now, these are the causes of the plastic pollution. One of the biggest major causes, negligence. When everybody in the on the earth will be held himself or herself a responsible citizen, then negligence will be avoided by them. But we never thought of our future, we just live in present, so we do negligence activity, and those activities may lead to a harmful impact on the earth. In fact, it is estimated that 80% of marine litter comes from land. It is also estimated that the litter, the waste material which we threw on the ground, will be transferred to the aquatic bodies such as river, pond, dam, seas, and further oceans. So the 80% waste material appearing in the oceans found will be considered as that it is coming from land only. That waste material which we are throwing on the land is being transferred to the ocean. So this pollution comes mainly from household waste, which is poorly recycled, dumped in landfills, or abandoned in nature. This waste is carried by the winds, pushed by the rains into sewers, streams, rivers, and finally in the oceans. Natural disasters such as flood must be considered as other cause of plastic pollution as well. So there are many causes of plastic pollution. One of the biggest cause of plastic pollution is the negligence duty of the human. Because of that only a human, they do not consider themselves responsible and just throw away the plastic waste material directly on the ground, on the land, and that land ground goes released from that area to the aquatic body, and which cause a huge loss to the organisms, to the biotic components who are living on the land as well as in the water. Next is Next cause can be the waste is carried by the wind, pushed by the trains into rains into the sewers, streams, rivers, and finally in the ocean. Natural disasters such as flood must be considered as other cause of plastic pollution as well. So, natural disaster can also be a biggest reason for the plastic pollution. Now, effects of plastic pollution. Effects of plastic pollution can be seen on the environment, on animals, on humans as well. Firstly, on the environment, we can see the effects of plastic. This plastic represents a chemical pollution in several ways. They contain compounds that can be chemically transferred to organisms during ingestion. Some of these molecules are potentially toxic and can accumulate in the body. Besides, plastic bag also affect the growth of crops by hindering the process of photosynthesis in agricultural field. So the effects of plastic can be seen on the environment as well. How the chemical released on the by the means of the plastic transfer to the organism, transfer to the different types of organisms, and some of these molecules are potentially that much toxic that accumulate in the body. Besides that, plastic bag also affects the growth of crop by hindering the process of photosynthesis in agriculture fields. When those plastic waste materials are being transferred on the agricultural field, then the growth of the crops also suffers. We can say that the infertility of land may also increases, and which hindering the process of photosynthesis, and which may lead to the loss of fertilization. Now, the effects of plastic pollution can also be seen on the animals. The most direct effect of plastic pollution is the imprisonment of animals in net, nets or large debris. It is cause of significant mortality of marine mammals, turtles, and birds. A second direct effect is ingestion that concerns the entire food chains of the marine ecosystem. So the effects of plastic can also be seen on the animals. Like, just take one example, a household example. If we want to, for suppose if we want to throw the food, the which is leftover food, uh, in our in front of our house, and then suddenly came a cow or any animal, then make sure that ensure that food should not be in any kind of plastic material. It should not be in polythene or any kind of plastic container, because if we put food in any kind of plastic container, that there might be a risk of consuming that container also by that animal, and that once that plastic, there is a plastic consumptions by the mammals or animals or any living organism, it may cause our death, of that particular animal also. So on animals also its effects are very severe. Talking about marine ecosystem, when when their plastics is being transferred into the water bodies, then marine ecosystem is also being compromised. On humans, effects of plastic pollution can also be determined, can also be seen on humans also, because of the chemical additives uh, used during plastic production. Plastics have potentially harmful effects on human health. As we already know that plastic is made up of chemicals, polycare chemicals, which is known as, and when we consume anything by putting uh, that material into some plastic bottle or any container, that also become a toxic one. So on human also its effects can be seen. Indeed, exposure of toxic chemical coming out of plastic can also cause cancers, breast, birth defect, impaired immunity, and other health problems. So these are the effects of plastic pollution. Let's summarize this one more time. That effects of plastic pollution can be, firstly, can be observed on the environment when there is an intoxicant material found on the land, on the under the ocean, under the sea, and even the toxicity of these plastic made plants infertile, and photosynthesis process can are is also compromised. And while if any body on the planet consume those plastic directly, then it may also cause to their death, as the chemical arising out of the plastic is very dangerous. On animal, its effects can also be seen on animals when animals consume these plastic material directly, and it entered into the food chain, which may cause severe effects to many living organisms. On human also its effects can be seen as the consumptions of plastic materials when we talking about any food or any beverages, we can say, they are put it into some plastic container or bottles. If we consume those materials directly from that plastic bottle, then it may also cause some severe impact on our health, which may leads to some severe diseases just like cancer, birth birth defects, impaired immunity, and other health problems. Now, this is a summarized slide of plastic pollution. That why does this causes plastic pollution? First one is overproduction. So there is a vast production and consumption of plastic products has led to a global plastic pollution crisis. When there is a production, then there will be consumption. If the production will be restricted, then the consumption is also being restricted. Government has done many government has made many policies and laws regarding this, but this is not possible until and unless we himself or herself thought about it, that the usage of plastic may cause a disastrous impact in our environment. So as plastic is convenient to use, and in our daily life also we use numerous of objects, numerous of articles which are made up of plastic. So due to that purpose, there is a production, and there which leads to overproduction of plastic, and which leads to overconsumptions and throwing of plastic without recycling it, without retreating it, make it a disastrous problem for the earth, or we can say for the land. Next, improper disposable. Much of the plastic waste produced is not properly recycled or disposed of, leading to it accumulating in the environment. So, improper disposable. Once we use some plastic waste, it should be recycled. Once it is recycled or reused, then there are much chances of controlling the plastic pollution. So once if we are using any plastic material, plastic product, then it should be recycled, or it should be properly disposed of before throwing directly or dumping directly into the land or soil. Next is environmental impact. So plastic pollution impact has been seen over environment as well. Plastic pollution has devastating effect on marine ecosystem, wildlife and human health, as plastic waste can take hundreds of years to decompose. So the negative impact of plastic can be seen on the environment as well, as as we already know that plastic waste materials take hundred thousands of years to decompose themselves, to decompose to decompose itself. So the marine ecosystem, wildlife and human health both are compromised. So plastic pollution has devastating effect on marine ecosystem, wildlife and human health, as plastic waste can take hundreds of years to decompose itself. Now this is a solution. How our plastic pollution can be controlled. So as we are already aware of the 3 R's. What are those 3 R's? Reduce, reuse and recycle. So if we want to control the pollution, if we want to make our earth a healthier one, if we want to save our natural resources for the upcoming generation, then we must always remember that we can use these 3 R's. What are these 3 R's? Are reduce, reuse and recycle. What does reduce means? Reduce means cut down on the use of single use plastic, conserve energy and adopt more sustainable practice. Reduce means to reduce the capacity of using something, which means talking about reduced in terms of noise, plastic pollution, that plastic, the materials which are made up of plastic, the usage of those materials should be reduced. We should not use more of those materials, more and more of plastic materials, which will help in conserving the energy and adopt more sustainable, and for that we can follow more and more sustainable practices. Next is reuse. Find ways to reuse and repurpose existing products to reduce waste, which means the once we are getting any using any plastic material, we should not throw it directly. If it has some uses, then we should reuse it, we should use it again and again. The purpose of existing the products to reduce the waste, we should not throw it directly, but we should reuse it again and again. Just take an example for this. For example, we have taken one Coca-Cola water bottle. So that water bottle, we have used it, we have drink Coca-Cola from that water bottle. Now that empty plastic bottle can be reused. How it can be reused? We can plant a tree, we can make a showpiece out of it, we can do some creativity on that plastic bottle and make it a reusable item. Next, recycle. Properly recycle materials like paper, glass and metal to prevent them ending up in landfills or the environment. So materials like paper, glass and metals should be recycled. They can be recycled and can convert it into in some other object. Can be by recycling those existing materials, we can uh, convert it into some other material. By we can make it a some other product. So By following these 3 R's, we can control the plastic pollution, as well as we can control other pollution also if we use these 3 R's, that is reduce, reuse, and recycle. Now, next solution can be educate. Educate means raising awareness about the importance of environmental production and encourage others to adopt more sustainable behavior. We should know that environment and the natural resources which are getting from the environment are limited in nature. They might end up in coming time, so we should use them very efficiently. We should not waste them. There should be optimum utilizations, and we should be aware of the negative consequences of these negative consequences when there is a lack of these resources. When there is a lack of these resources, negative consequences can be seen over generations. So awareness, educations among these things should be there among the people of the nation, because the if 80%, if 100% there is a pollution we categorize them into 80-20. 80% is in the hand of the human. If they can control that pollution, 20% is due to natural disasters, but 80% of the pollution can be controllable if the human is educated, if the human is aware of the fact that if we are leading this in the same direction, then it can have a negative consequences in future. Next is advocate. Support policies and initiatives that promote environmental conservation and sustainable development. So, advocate, government has formulated many policies and initiatives, plans, etc., to promote the environmental conservation and sustainable development. We should support these policies and initiatives, and also we should take part in these camps and plans, and also aware society about the negative consequences of not saving the mother earth. By taking action to address the various types of pollution and implementing sustainable solution, we can work towards a cleaner, healthier, and more resilient and planet for present and future generation. So by taking action to address the various type of pollution and implementing sustainable solution, we can work towards a cleaner, healthier, and more resilient planet for present and future generation. We can save the future generations, and we can save our present as well, as we already know that they have the very negative and negative consequences and very disastrous impact on the uh, on the living organisms, on the biotic components present over the earth. So one should follow the sustainable development to save the earth. Okay, that's all for today. Further, one or two pollutions are left that we will continue in our next class. Thank you and have a nice day.